This is a Neon Night Media production.
Hey everybody, this is Mike from You're Missing Out. You just got done hearing a little snippet of our new theme song for Season 2 and beyond. You remember us? Let me reintroduce you to everybody. Tom, my esteemed co-host, is here, Tom Lorenzo.
Hello, guys. It's been a while.
It's been a little while. And of course, our producer Kyle is here as well. Kyle, thanks so much for joining us again.
Yeah, of course, gentlemen. How you guys been?
I'm doing well.
I just want to put it out there that for once in my fucking life, something being done way later than it needs to be done, procrastinating Season 2, was not my goddamn fault. I didn't wait until This is not my fault. I'm always the one waiting until the end. Mike's known me since college. I don't do homework until it's due that day. This is not my fault. We're back.
So that's Tom's way of letting you guys know we are back today. We are doing this episode. This is a special episode, our real-time reactions to the National Film Registry selections. We did this last year. A lot of listeners really enjoyed it, so we're doing it again this year. Season 2 of You're Missing Out is happening. It is coming in 2022. We have some episodes in the can. We have more on the horizon. We just set up a record with a very exciting guest that I know all three of us are so stoked. So season 2 will be coming in 2022. We are very excited. But first, this episode is going to be our real-time reactions to the selections to the National Film Registry. Just today, the Library of Congress announced the 25 films that will be going into the National Film Registry. I have only seen like 3 titles because they popped up in my Twitter feed, and I immediately texted these two guys for us to get together. Tom has not seen any of the titles that have been selected. So the way this is going to work is Kyle, our producer, is going to, in chronological order from oldest to newest of the 25 inductees, he is going to give us the title to see if we know what it is just from the title alone. If we do, we're going to talk about it. If we don't, he's going to tell us about this new selection, and you're going to get our real in-the-moment reactions to these selections to the registry. Kyle, you have looked at the list. How do you feel about this year's class of entrants?
I gotta be honest with you. I feel like no matter what aspect of film you subscribe to, I feel like there's a movie that is represented here for you. I don't think anybody's looking at this list going, what on earth were they thinking, or why did they put that in here, or why did they choose this or not this? I think everybody's going to walk away, both us as individuals and the team as a whole, and our objective. I think we're going to be really happy about this list.
Awesome. Now, this is pretty cool because last year when we reacted to this, we had been, because we were midway through our season, we had been naming films that we wanted in the registry at the end of each episode. This is something we do, is we name a film that we are submitting to be considered by the National Film Registry. At the end of Season 1, we took that list of 50 films that we had nominated, and we actually submitted it to the Library of Congress to theoretically be considered this year as potential inductees. So what is going to happen now, before we get into what actually got inducted this year, Kyle is going to remind us of the 50 movies that we told the National Film Registry should be considered. The idea being, we'll find out if they took any of those suggestions, or more likely than not, we're going to wind up with egg on our face at the end of this record.
And
but
now,
nevertheless,
the way Mike said, we did tell them. We said, "Hey, listen, put these fucking movies in, or we're gonna be mad." These weren't suggestions. We told them, and
yeah,
we got to see if we're gonna need to crack some fucking kneecaps this year because we if we don't get listened to, we get mad.
In retrospect, having Tom write the email was a mistake, I think. All right, Kyle, remind us what we nominated for the National Film Registry for 2021. These are not the films that were put in. These are the films that we suggested as nominations.
And just also a reminder, we each got one in last year.
That is right.
That's right. To be clear, they selected those films before we made these submissions.
No. Don't be modest. We told them.
Well, no, I should point out. So
and
last year, Tom at the end of one episode said, the Blues Brothers. I, at the end of one episode, said Clockwork Orange. Then they were selected as part of the 2020 class, so we actually let Kyle pick 2 films to take the place of those titles when we made our submissions. So you're going to notice that I am suggesting 24 films, Tom is suggesting 24 films, and Kyle was suggesting 2. These were our submissions prior to their selection process this year. Kyle, what did we submit?
So, Mike, on your side of the list, we've got Hannah and Her Sisters, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, the Trump Talks Citizen Kane clip, Terms of Endearment. It's a mad world. Bamboozled. Helga.
Huelga.
The Lone Ranger. Huelga, excuse me. The Lone Ranger, the 1938 serial. Crazy Cat. What is this?
Bugologist.
Bugologist. Crazy Cat Bugologist. Just Another Girl on the IRT. Blue Velvet. Technological Threat. Street Fight. Tongues United. Thief.
Tongues Untied.
Tongues Untied, sorry. I'm a little dyslexic today, I apologize. Thief. Dixon Buffalo Bill Films. Moulin Rouge. The Little Mermaid. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Iron Man. Watermelon Woman. Boogie Nights. Batman 1989. And The Wizard of Oz 1910. Tom, your list included Rolling Thunder, The Age of Innocence, There Will Be Blood, They Live, Failsafe, The Train, Casino, The Hired Hand, Man on Fire, Magnolia, Brooklyn, Brick, Madawan, Nixon, F for Fake, Fat City, Fort Apache, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Blade, Blood Simple, Barton Fink, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and Brazil. My 2 picks were, of course, Spider-Man and the first YouTube video, Me at the Zoo from 2006. I can tell you from this list...
To issue... don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
But to issue a quick correction, Tom's submission was Crooklyn, the Spike Lee film. I believe one of our emails auto-corrected it to Brooklyn. Tom did not submit the currently ineligible Saoirse Ronan film.
I was very confused when I was just like, hang on, I don't think... Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that.
It is official. Google is racist.
Yeah.
All right, so that is what we suggested. Now it is time to find out what they selected. Kyle, and Tom and I can keep personal little tallies of how many of these we know. Kyle, why don't you take it away? What is the first film of the new selections?
From 1902, we have the Ringling Brothers Parade film.
From 1902. So now is that... Because they do this in the registry. This is just filmed footage of the Ringling Brothers Parade?
Yeah, let me give you a little description. Okay. Yeah, because this might help for this one. So recently restored, and you can correct me on the pronunciation of this, by the Niles Asani Silent Film Museum.
Sure. I don't have
whatever.
I don't know.
This 3-minute actuality recording of a circus parade in Indianapolis in 1902 accidentally provides a rare glimpse of a prosperous northern black community at the turn of the century. African Americans rarely appear in films of that era, and then only in caricature or as mocking distortions through a white lens. Actuality films indelibly capture time and space, fashion, ceremonies, locations soon to disappear, behavior at large events, and the key daily routines of life, sometimes unexpectedly so, as in this delightful gem.
Wow, that's a lot more. Like, I'm used to them doing those, what they called actuality films of, there's a number of those in there. There's, of like home movies or just things filming events. There's like a Disneyland home movies film in there. There's a bunch of footage of McKinley, but I didn't realize it had that much going on in it. That sounds even more interesting than I expected. Wow.
They actually have a link to the restoration that they put up on YouTube, so I can send that to you guys after the show too if you're interested.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Yeah.
So this is just footage of a circus in Indianapolis, is what you're saying, or what? So I'm trying to just get my head around this.
I think the idea is that like there was recording of like the Ringling Brothers Parade, but they're inducting it because there is a rare glimpse of sort of what an African American community looked like at the beginning of the century.
Okay, no, see, I'm just I find it funny because in our day and age where nothing can be gray, everything's black or white. I'm just imagining people you're putting in the film about the elephant torturer. And it's like, well, it's because they were showing Black life before they were doing that. Yeah, but like, woke much?
We We can't turn this into a cancel culture rant on our first film, Tom.
It's not a
We got
cancel.
one
It's
full
not a
episode.
cancel
No,
culture
I know,
rant.
I
It's
know,
about
I
it's
know.
about how nobody can fucking. The only way
I
this
know,
could be
I
more
know, I know.
cancelable is if there was an age gap in it.
All right, let's jump off this one. Kyle, what's the second film?
From 1919, Jubileo. Jubilo? Jubilo. I'm
What
sorry.
in the? Okay, all right.
Jubilo from 1919.
Sure.
I got no idea, and I'm assuming Tom does not either.
Okay.
It sounds like he's
Is this
insulting me in
is this
Yugoslavian.
is this a or an actuality film? A documentary? Is this a narrative? What do we got here?
Nope, it looks like it's a narrative. So, in the third film of his illustrious motion picture career, humorist and cowboy philosopher Will Rogers enacted the easygoing, likable tramp Jubilo, named after a Civil War song in which enslaved people using stereotypical dialect celebrate their hoped for emancipation. Theater organists and pianists no doubt played the tune repeatedly throughout the picture, and for years afterwards it became a signature song for Rogers, a multiracial member of the Cherokee Nation who often portrayed a comic trickster common in both African American and Native American cultures. Despite its predictable plot, Jubilo was distinguished by the uniquely human character Rogers created and the title cards he authored that gave national audiences a taste of the topical remarks he would casually toss off from the stages as he entertained New York audiences with his roping and horseback riding tricks. One card, appearing after his character spends a night trying to fix an automobile, satirizes Henry Ford's recently unsuccessful political ambitions with the line, "No wonder he wasn't elected to the Senate with everyone owning one of these." Reviewers praised Rogers' wonderfully natural creation and rugged sense of humor, and a few years later, director Erich von Stroheim commended Rogers' picture for their character-driven realism, a desired quality he found otherwise lacking in most of Hollywood's more plot-dominated productions. The film is preserved by the Museum of Modern Art.
Sold. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was a lot more than I feel like they usually give us.
Yeah.
Also, I just went to IMDb. There is no runtime for this movie. Is this like a lost movie? I'm like, because like there's no runtime on IMDb. So I don't know if this is a short or like a long movie. I mean, I know it's 1919, so it's probably not fucking 3 hours long. But like, is it 20 minutes? Is it like 62 minutes? What are we dealing with here,
Well,
fellas?
Wikipedia lists it as 50 minutes, Tom.
Okay, because it's not.
So,
It's on IMDb.
yeah.
It just doesn't have any like.
That's weird.
a
Yeah, no.
runtime.
Wikipedia has it at 50 minutes. You're
Okay,
right.
so this is
IMDb does
like-
not have a runtime.
So this is like the early version of a feature length.
Yeah, this was a feature for its time. I'm legitimately, I'm enjoying this so far. I don't know if this streak is going to carry through for the rest of the films, but twice now, Kyle has named something that at face value, like when I just hear the title and the early description, I go, all right, and now I'm more interested.
Yeah.
I have struggled with Will Rogers in terms of like, I feel like the way Will Rogers has been passed down. I mean, he's not really passed down that much, but the way he has, when they talk about him being an early satirist, like a lot of the satire you hear from Rogers will be him going, "The thing about Congress is it's bad," and it's like it feels very just like kind of inoffensively folksy. And I know that he must have had more bite to it than that. I know that he was an important figure for a period of time. I just have not been exposed to much biting satire from Will Rogers, which is what this sounds like. So I'm legitimately very interested in this. And it's also, what did you say? It was 1919.
1919. Yep.
So it's public domain. So it will find its way on the internet soon.
Cool.
102 years old. Congratulations. You're in the Kirk Douglas years.
Yeah, goddamn. All right. What is number 3, Kyle? So far, we are 0 for 2 in terms of knowing what these are.
From 1926, we have The Flying Ace.
The Flying Ace. Hang on. I think I know this because what did you say, 20 something?
26, yep.
1926. So this isn't animated. This is a live action. This is this the one with the African American cast?
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
So the Norman Film Manufacturing Company of Jacksonville, Florida, was an important producer of race films, movies made specifically for black audiences. Although owned by Richard Norman, a white man, the studio's films tended to portray a world in which whites, and thus racism, was completely absent. The Flying Ace is an excellent example, a fairly straightforward romance in the skies drama with a compelling cast and good production values.
Yeah, yeah, no, okay, yes. The only reason I have that offhand is I'm pretty sure I have that separate cinema coffee table book, and I remember spotting that, I think, in there. Interesting. Okay. I don't think that's in the no, it wouldn't be in Pioneers of African American. Okay, sorry, never mind. I'm going off track. Flying Ace. Yes, I do know Flying Ace.
I do not. It's about an hour long, and it sounds cool. I would definitely watch it.
Kyle, any what's number 4?
Number 4 from 1930, we have Hellbound Train.
Wow. Okay. Look at this. Like I feel like with us, like in the first 2 years of the registry, like our first season, the only film we had that dealt with the African American experience was The Learning Tree. We're working on season 2 now, and the only film that deals with the African American experience, then we got a single film, which is Killer of Sheep. And it kind of felt like, especially in those early years, the approach was like, you get one. But now, just right off the bat, I mean, you got that Ringling Brothers film. You got Flying Ace, which is the African American cast, and then Hellbound Train it's a silent film, right? I believe it's silent. And it depicts. It was made by African American filmmakers. It's in that, I think it's the first film on that. If anybody has that Kino Lorber Pioneers of African American Cinema Blu-ray collection, it's the first film in that, and it's essentially telling you, if you listen to jazz music and smoke jazz cigarettes and hang out with loose women, you'll be on a train to hell.
Hell yeah.
And it's wild, and I believe, I could be wrong here, but I believe that the whole thing was like the film itself was not the whole presentation. Like this was something that would get brought around in like revival tents, and the preacher would have the film playing and they would talk while it was on. So they were providing a narration to the film live, which is similar to, if anybody knows Gertie the Dinosaur, the version of Gertie the Dinosaur we see now is not the proper version, because the proper version was an actual man in front of the screen in person interacting with the dinosaur. I think this was much the same way with Hellbound Train. I've seen Hellbound Train. It's a weird, because it doesn't have a traditional narrative, at least in the version that I have seen. It's a fascinating thing to look at. Yeah, Hellbound Train, I do know. Yes, very interesting. Wow. Okay.
I do not, and jumping off for Mike, pointing out that they're pushing the representation stuff, because I feel like we even pointed it out last year. Like it feels like they're making a concerted effort
yeah.
after a lot of these film sort of companies and organizations and whatnot were getting a lot of shit for how whitewashed everything was, and seeing as how this one is specifically American,
Yeah.
it is kind of like weird to not dive into that stuff until recently, but it's good that it's coming.
Yeah,
And especially older stuff like this, because it's not like Criterion saying, yeah, One Night in Miami, that's one of the best movies ever. It's like, no, we're going back to foundational kind of movies here that people weren't talking about but maybe did inspire shit. Like you talking about it almost sounds like an art installation.
Yeah.
Where I wouldn't be surprised, I mean maybe not, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was a kind of in the mind of Nia DaCosta and Jordan Peele with Candyman this year.
Yeah,
With
and it's
art installations and the Black experience and all that stuff. I don't know, but yeah, so it's cool to, especially for older movies, like I've said before 1950s I'm kind of useless, but even for this feels even more like they're diving deeper into a realm that a lot of so-called cinephiles would not be as well aware of, to my mind at least.
I recently I published a piece that talked a bit about this Kino Lorber box set that features it, because it is something interesting about Kino Lorber. Did it with their Pioneers of African American Cinema and Pioneers Women Filmmakers, those two Blu-ray sets, but there really does seem to be an effort, particularly on the registry's part as well, to kind of correct the record that so many of us have this idea that cinema was always a white male dominated medium, that that African American life was not so many people think it wasn't depicted on film until The Learning Tree or Shaft. They think that that it was just so exclusionary. And while that was the case, once Hollywood was dominant, you look at the stuff in Pioneers of African American Cinema or Pioneers Women Filmmakers, and you're just seeing that no, this medium belonged to everyone early on, and that women were doing such interesting things that later got lifted, and African American filmmakers were doing so many interesting things that later got lifted. And I think it's really great that the registry is inducting these films and shining a spotlight on these films so that the next generation can understand that D.W. Griffith didn't invent movies. That he didn't really invent shit. And that there were other people doing this. So I think that's great.
Throw that next one at us, buddy.
Yeah, what's
All
next?
right, so for number 5, from 1932, Flowers and Trees.
Whoa! Okay, cool. All right, so it is. I mean, Kyle, you can't be at all shocked that I know Flowers and Trees.
No, not at all.
No. Flowers and Trees was the first animated short to ever win the Academy Award for Best Animated Short. It also holds the distinction. It is the first cartoon produced by the Walt Disney Company in 3-strip Technicolor. So obviously Steamboat Willie, all of the older Disney shorts, the Owl shorts, are all in black and white. Flowers and Trees is in a very vibrant color. And while, Tom, you have not necessarily seen the original Flowers and Trees short, you do know the Flowers and Trees. Do you know why you know that, Tom?
Why do I know that, Mike?
Because they cameo in a little movie called Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I just literally had that on.
Yeah, the Dancing Flowers and Dancing Trees are a tribute. They are the Flowers and Trees from this pivotal short. I mean, Flowers and Trees, when you watch it, I think the thing that's so impressive about it, I love that short anyway. It's one of my favorite Disney cartoons, and it's one of my favorite that ever won the Oscar, because it's just so. It's not just that it's vibrant for its day. It's that you still feel a sense of astonishment looking at it. Like, it's so pretty and it's so fun. They still have the cartoony faces, We're not moving into that much more naturalist look that comes along after Snow White and whatever, but it's so pretty. It's so nice. Flowers and Trees, that's great. I'm very happy about that. It's a wonderful selection. It's on Disney Plus if anybody wants to check it out.
It's on Disney Plus, and if you want to see it in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as I was texting Mike before, they just put out a 4K disc of that movie, and it is mind-boggling how good that movie looks and how none of the seams show. So there's a plug for
For a
physical
film.
media.
Yeah, good. We support it.
It's in the fucking film.
No, you're right. It is, and it's in the registry. Yeah.
It's not like I'm saying, hey, buy Guns of the Navarone. It just got a 4K disc.
Kyle, the next film is Guns of Navarone. No, I'm kidding. Kyle, what's the next film?
From 1951, Strangers on a Train.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've both seen that, and
Yeah.
I watched it this year with my trying to finish all my Alfred Hitchcock movies I fucking had on Blu-ray. So like, God, I gotta just watch these. And Stranger on the Train was one of my favorites. I'm glad it's on this list. I feel like, because I'm the mainstream boy who picks mainstream populist movies for my suggestions, I would have probably gotten to this as a suggestion soon. And still mourning that we're not getting the David Fincher, Gillian Flynn version of this story, because that would have ruled. But this movie rules too.
No, Strangers on a Train, I support it. It's not one of my all-time Hitchcock films, but it's also one of those cases where half the films that aren't in my top Hitchcock films are also thoroughly enjoyable watches.
Well, yeah.
That's the weird thing about him.
It's one that I do kind of wish was in his Technicolor phase. I don't think it would have benefited from his Technicolor phase of casting 60-year-old men to play 28-year-old guys. I don't think this needed Jimmy Stewart versus Cary Grant or whatever, but I would have loved to see him do this in the super colorful, because I Vertigo and Rear Window and all that stuff. They look so great, and but still, this movie rules. It's not a movie where I would have said a remake would definitely be better than this, but I know that there's a way to complement it, because I feel like Gillian Flynn would not have just done this. She would have found a way to make it a little more interesting and twisted, and kind of I don't know. But either way, I'm rambling. This movie rules. It is one of Hitchcock's better. If it's definitely not top 5, but it's definitely up there.
Cool.
From 1962. Whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
cool.
okay,
That's
yeah.
great.
Now it's funny. There's well, you know what? Good. We did an episode. It's not out yet. Obviously, it's in season 2. But Tom and I are mad at ourselves that neither of us picked Whatever Happened to Baby Jane for the registry. Good. We didn't. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? It rules. It's good. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Very good.
Also, if you can find the season of Feud, Betty and fuck,
You, Betty, and Joan.
Betty and Joan.
Yeah.
It's a great season of TV. Maybe the best thing Ryan Murphy ever put his name on because he didn't fucking write any of it. But it's great to complement Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Watch that shit.
Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Very good. It's a horror film that I think is tawdry in the best way. Yeah,
And it's also it's interesting too in that not just it kind of starts the hagsploitation era of like a subgenre of film. Not that it would. It's also interesting in kind of reviving Betty and Joan's careers in a way because they were getting older and that's not something Hollywood approves of for women. But I also just think it's so interesting that a movie that this feminine and about women and it comes from a guy who was such a masculine, gritty, tough filmmaker like Robert Aldrich, who he'd make shit like The Dirty Dozen and stuff like that. Like he was a man's man filmmaker, and to roll into this is a good argument. Maybe against, not necessarily against the auteur theory, but kind of the like almost similar to Robert Wise, since West Side Story's in the air of like, oh, they do everything, so they don't have a style. Where you can go, well, no, they can do anything. That's the style.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe the most interesting thing about the movie, in my eyes at least, because you wouldn't see this and then see like The Dirty Dozen. You wouldn't think that's the same guy, but movies now more than ever.
All right, Kyle, what's next on the docket?
Number 8 from 1965. Evergreen.
Evergreen.
Is this a documentary since both of us don't know it?
No, hang on. No, because Evergreen. No, I'm thinking for a second. My brain jumped to Evergreen, the theme from A Star Is Born, but then I
No.
remembered, no, that's A Star Is Born. Is this a short or a feature?
It looks like it is a student film.
A student
Excuse
film?
me?
A student film? Hang on. I swear to fucking God, I think I know this. Is this by... I'm not going to know which. So, Kyle, I'm going to throw 3 names at you. Please tell me if any of them are involved with this movie. Robbie Krieger, Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek.
It's Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek, yeah.
Yes, it's one of the Doors student films. Oh, fuck
Yeah.
me. Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Isn't this
Ew.
one like... Isn't it like some... Oh, I don't remember what this is now. I saw it back in college. Okay, cool. Yes. Are they in it, or he just direct? Who? Okay, never mind. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. Weird. Cool. Weird.
I don't approve of any sort of The Doors appreciation in any way, shape, or form. This is a travesty. I'm going to take this up with the film registry as soon as I can. This is nonsense.
Man, guys, just so you guys can't wait until we get to season 37 and cover this film, which in our current pace we'll be doing in the year 2995.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle
wow.
keeps moving back and forth between the continental
Kyle-
United States, and we got to wait for him.
Kyle has now lived in every state by this point.
Oh, pretty much.
So
He
except
just
for
won't live in
Alaska.
Alaska.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Evergreen.
Wow.
Evergreen. Okay, interesting. What was their reasoning? I'm curious.
So let's see. Before co-founding the Doors and the band learning their craft in Los Angeles clubs such as London Fog and Whiskey A Go Go, Ray Manzarek attended UCLA's film school, where he met fellow film student Jim Morrison. While at UCLA, credited as Raymond D. Manzarek, he created the student film Evergreen about a jazz musician and his romance with an art student played by Manzarek's then girlfriend and future wife, Dorothy Fujikawa. Manzarek was always a huge fan of the potential of cinema. He once noted film is the art form of the 20th century, combining photograph, music, acting, writing, everything. Everything that I was interested in all came together with that one art form. In Evergreen, which has been called a 12-minute West Coast cool jazz cinematic tryst, one can definitely spot the influence, of the French New Wave and filmmakers such as Jean-Luc Godard. The film's title reportedly comes from the beat literary magazine, the Evergreen Review, and Evergreen features music by Herbie Mann, the Bill Evans Trio, and the Jazz Crusaders. The location shots of mid-1960s Los Angeles comprise a magical time capsule of their own. Fujikawa sums up the impact of film on Manzarek and Morrison. I think film informed his work and Jim's work throughout their musical careers, she said. They always thought of their songs as cinematic expressions. They were always sort of little stories that were dramatic and told a story with music. In that way, they were cinematic songs. The film has been digitally restored by the UCLA Film and Television Archive.
Cool. Good. Cool.
Yeah.
Good. What's next? What's next, Kyle?
From 1970, we have Requiem 29.
This sounds like the kind of thing that I would go, well, of course, it was made by Jim McDougall, a filmmaker who exposed film to light while cutting his arm or some like that, but I don't know. I don't know what this is. Is it an experimental film, or is it a narrative, or?
It looks more like another student film. So UCLA's Ethno-Communications program's first collective student film had intended to capture the East Los Angeles Chicano moratorium against the war in
Oh.
Vietnam, August 29th, 1970. But the film turns into a requiem for slain journalist and movement icon Ruben Salazar. The film shows footage of the march, the brutal police response, and resulting chaos, and interspersed with scenes from the rather callous and superficial inquest. Filmmakers attached to the project have confirmed that the original elements for the film disappeared over 40 years ago. The UCLA Film and Television Archive has facilitated a 4K scan of the surviving faded 16mm print for preservation purposes and hopes to turn this provisional work into a full restoration effort.
Wow. Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I also love that they're specifically citing who's preserving these films. in these
Yeah, I don't
descriptions.
think
think
they've
that's
I don't think
great.
they've done that before.
And that is a lot of it seems like it's as much restoration and reclamation as preservation. That actually, I mean, I know Ruben Salazar, but I'd never heard of this film. That's super interesting. I mean, that feels like one of those ones. I nominated Huelga last year, and that was just something that I found that was like seemingly buried in some archive somewhere. And this sounds kind of the same, that it's something that deserves to be seen and hasn't been. So I think that's great.
I'm of two minds on this. One, very cool. Two, student films, no good. Don't like them. Never do them. That's what you get when you go to film school. You end up hating other. You just hate watching student films. So, I mean, yay, but also, ugh. Next.
I mean, these probably aren't using the same classical composition every
Yeah,
one.
well, I'm gonna stick my foot in just dig my heels in and say no, thank you. Next.
All right, what's
Very
next?
well. All right. From 1971, we have The Murder of Fred Hampton.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean
Okay.
that makes sense in terms of, I mean, obviously, with Judas and the Black Messiah coming out this past year, it makes sense that people were going back to this documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's
all the cop stuff in the last 2 years, the awareness of all that shit. Yeah, definitely feels like that. And like we said, the continued pretty much diversification of their inductees, because it's been a few entries since we got to Hitchcock.
And if you're preserving history, I mean,
Yeah.
preserving, these documentaries are a great way not only to induct, a well-made film, but also to ensure that you are preserving historically important footage. Like last year, Freedom Riders getting in, that's not just recognizing the film, but that's also making sure that you are preserving the footage.
Wait, yeah, because where the fuck do you find documentaries and shit like that? There's no streaming service with that. Like even Criterion, as good as they are, that I mean, you're not finding like a lot of documentaries on there. You're not getting shit on HBO Max. There's not really a great physical media presence for documentaries, even with all the boutique labels that exist these days. There needs to be an intent, a purposeful intent of keeping this shit from disappearing forever. So,
or being actively suppressed too. Like,
Yeah.
that's the other factor is inarguably, for whatever else there is, and for whatever qualms anyone could have with the federal government, the U.S. government, anything like that, a documentary, a film that is direct about the suppression of Fred Hampton and the movement he represented is now preserved by the Library of Congress. It's an inarguable entity now. It can't be written off as some kind of loose change style, crank YouTube clip. You know,
Yeah.
this is a thing that we have to confront now. So I think that's great. It's a good choice. It's an interesting year so far. I'm very intrigued. And we
Yeah.
haven't hit really any of the big ones. Kyle was teasing to me like, "Oh, you haven't heard of the big ones," and I haven't, but we haven't hit them yet. So who knows what that means.
I can't wait for them to finally induct the Jade. William Friedkin's 90s masterpiece with David Caruso, Jade. Be like David Caruso in Jade. Best joke in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
All right.
Kyle, what's next?
From 1972, we have Pink Flamingos.
Yeah, baby! This is one I knew about, and I'm so happy.
Surprising that it's not already in.
Oh my god, I know. Tom, I have said on episodes of our show, like explicitly, like it's infuriating me that there's no John Waters in the registry. It's insane there's no John Waters in the registry.
Okay, again, do you know me? You think I'm listening to you?
No, I know.
And not only I'm listening to you, I'm ingesting it in my mind to remember at later dates.
Yeah.
Still, it is crazy.
It's insane. And I have written down for one film we're going to cover in season 2, my registry pick for that film was going to be Pink Flamingos, because it's not only is it this insanely transgressive film, not only is it one of the most important midnight movies of all time, like the entire idea of cult movies, as we call them now, you know, in between something like Eraserhead and the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the film that marks that transition is Pink Flamingos, this radically transgressive film that also, I mean, we talk a lot about films that capture and represent certain communities, and there's something about the fact that Waters' films captured the LGBT scene in Baltimore, but not in a way that was documentary and not in a way that was necessarily flattering, but was actively transgressive. You know, I mean, Pink Flamingos goes out of its way to be the most shocking film of all time, but instead of being like one of those films now that are just these very male driven, like bad slasher movies and things where it's like, oh, it's so disturbing. It's not disturbing in that you're watching pretty young women get just murdered all the time. It's transgressive in that it's dealing with themes that people would find upsetting. The sound quality is iffy, and it ultimately ends, despite the plot already ending, and the entire plot being Divine's mission to become the most filthy woman alive, ends with her just eating dog excrement. And not prop stuff, just literally picking up dog excrement off the sidewalk and eating it on camera just to upset and rattle people. I think John Waters is a phenomenal filmmaker who is just hasn't made anything since the Tracy Ullman movie that I'm forgetting now. Is it Low Down Dirty Shame? Something Dirty Shame.
Dirty Work.
No, Dirty Work is
Dirty Shame.
Dirty Work is the Norm Macdonald movie.
Dirty Shame.
Yeah, Dirty Shame with Johnny Knoxville and all. He's an incredible filmmaker. Polyester, Multiple Maniacs. He's got a number of films that should be in the registry. But Pink Flamingos is the one that absolutely has to be, and I'm so glad it's in. This makes me very happy. We love you, John. Make another movie.
Also from 1972, Sounder.
So, Tom, do you know Sounder?
No.
Tom, you would fucking love Sounder. So Sounder, the reason I know Sounder, I actually watched it recently because we're doing an episode on The Godfather this season. And the Best Picture nominees the year of The Godfather is The Godfather obviously wins Best Picture. There's Cabaret, which I had seen many times. The Immigrants, the Swedish film. Deliverance. And then the fifth nominee is Sounder. I knew nothing about Sounder before this year. It's one of those a boy and his dog movies, which is not my bag as much as Old Yeller makes me cry. Like, I'm not a boy and his dog movie type. But the thing about this is it is an African-American boy and his dog movie. It is an indictment of the American prison system and American prejudice while also being a boy and his dog movie. And I'm telling you, Tom, that it just is about as far up your alley as a movie can get. There's getting angry at the injustice of the system and also a dog doing things. You're sold. This is for you. Sounder is your gem.
I'm with it. I'm there. I'm all for it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep making people mad, because it's another black movie. I want these fucks to get mad. Be mad. Stay mad, you fools.
Yeah, Sounder is It's very good. I'm looking right now. If people listening, Cicely Tyson. That's right. Cicely Tyson gives an amazing performance. Paul Winfield was up for, I think, Best Actor that year. He's very good. Taj Mahal, the great blues musician, did the score. Folks, check it out. Seriously, I think it's apparently streaming for free on Tubi right now. So if you're gonna watch anything, just like make the effort. Watch Sounder. It's very good. Check it out.
From 1973, we have The Long Goodbye.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Tom, why don't you talk Long Goodbye? You're this is your jam.
Oh, I don't know if I would go that far, but
More
I mean,
so than
it's,
me in terms of Altman movies. Like in terms of top Altman films.
Well, I think we're kind of on the same page with this movie in that it's
Okay.
not our favorite Altman movie.
Well,
But it's
but
definitely
Nashville's already
Nashville's already in, and yeah, I mean, it's an interesting movie. It's Altman transporting the Philip Marlowe character to the '70s and kind of doing a traditional noir story, but doing it in his Altman way, where it's kind of not really the point, and it's more about Elliot Gould as Philip Marlowe as kind of like this disenchanted guy who's like stuck out of time and is just not fitting in with the changing of the guard and everything. It's a movie that's definitely influenced a lot of stuff after it. I mean, most specifically because I threw it on yesterday after watching Licorice Pizza. You watch Inherent Vice or read Inherent Vice, I'm sure. Pynchon, and by default, PTA definitely ingested this movie in a big way. Big Lebowski definitely. I'm sure Shane Black loves this. He did his entire career is about upturning the noir narratives on its head and kind of poking it in the ribs, but still like in having fun with it. It's not that I would say it's a bad movie. It's definitely a movie I also want to watch again because it's been a while, and just being humans, our tastes change. We can maybe like this stuff a little more since we last seen it. It's a good movie. It's Altman, so it's definitely worth it just for the completionists. But yeah, I mean the impact it's had is huge.
It's also for I don't want to speculate on the persuasions of any of our listeners. So if this applies to you, great. If it doesn't. But I will say, inarguably, The Long Goodbye is peak sexy Elliot Gould.
Oh yeah.
Like it's Elliot Gould's one of those guys who like maybe you turn to somebody and go like, oh, he was considered hot, and they'd be like, I don't know. But you watch The Long Goodbye, and the dude is just playing his harmonica, and you're just like, I get it. I get why Elliot Gould, peak hot Elliot Gould in The Long Goodbye.
And also, first cinematic appearance of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's true. Yeah.
With a mustache as he stares right into the camera because nobody told him don't look in the camera.
Christ, I haven't watched Long Goodbye since college, and I now I want to rewatch it. Like now I owe it a rewatch.
I think I bought it for my Altman collection. So
guys, do you want to? This is not worth talking about on mic, but you guys want to get together and just watch Long Goodbye soon? Like all three of us are in the same state now. Let's get together and watch Long Goodbye. Kyle?
Okay.
I mean, yeah, right, sure. Good. I mean, it's gonna be a bit. Got to watch the Matrix movies and some Christmas stuff. But...
Okay, 2022. Two things I can promise people: we are putting out season 2 of You're Missing Out, and me, Kyle, and Tom are going to get together and watch The Long Goodbye.
There we go.
Absolutely,
we're definitely doing on the record. We're doing it.
All right. Next on our list from 1975, we have Cooley High.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a good choice. I was exposed to Cooley High for the first time because Spike Lee speaks very highly of it. I think it's on his syllabus that he does. And while I am not the biggest, I always complain about not liking quote unquote coming of age films. Cooley High is very fun. It's an incredible soundtrack. And the movie is also, without saying much, like it's a little like what we did season 1 with The Learning Tree, where if you're watching it and you're not really paying attention, it's easy to look at it and just think of it as like fluff. But if you're paying attention, you notice it takes some dark turns. As obviously, like Spike Lee has talked about this film very highly. John Singleton has talked about this film very highly. It's a hugely important and influential film. And I think, most importantly, Boyz II Men's first album is Cooley High Harmony, named after this film. So, if nothing else. But no, Cooley High rules. Good. I think Garrett Morris is in it. Am I looking this up? Yes, Garrett Morris is in it. Great soundtrack. Great film.
I mean, yeah, this guy would go on to direct
Car Wash. You better know his soundtracks.
Yeah. Have you seen Cooley High, Tom?
No, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
Another one I think you'd dig immensely.
Also, gonna say it, I think they put this in not just for the impact of the movie itself. I'm thinking they're putting it in because they need to get some sort of tangential connection to The Last Dragon. And this guy would go on to direct The Last Dragon.
Oh my God, yeah.
So
yeah, wow.
While they're not gonna outright put The Last Dragon in because they're cowards, this is as far as they'll go.
I got a crazier one for you. He also directed Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and more interesting, he directed Bustin' Loose. Bustin' Loose is a movie where Richard Pryor drives a school bus full of children, and one of the children is blind. There's a little kid in it who's blind in Bustin' Loose, and that man went on to be my high school history teacher.
Yes, that's right. I remember you telling me that.
That means little to our listeners, but Mr. Hughes was an exceptional teacher. So shout out to you, Jim Hughes, if you are listening to our roundup. Yes.
Well,
okay. Cooley High. Good call.
Yeah.
All right. Next on our list from 1979, Richard Pryor live in concert.
There we go.
Hell yes. Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Richard Pryor. Oh, yes. We're doing it. We're fucking doing it. Richard Pryor, the best stand-up of all time. His best stand-up special of all time. Makes every goddamn stand-up comedian working today that's basically just making the audience their therapist because, comedy's hard. You got to get up here and sometimes people don't like you. Yeah, Richard Pryor lit his ass on fire and still kept doing comedy. You absolute clowns. This is insightful, it's funny, he does character work, he does it's like all kinds of stand-up comedy in one, but it's just so it's a masterclass in ways that even some of the others like his his peer at the time, George Carlin, who's probably number 2 stand-up of all time, just never got to what Richard could do, which is truly immerse you into a new world and bring characters to life on stage and make it funny and honest and heartbreaking, but never dour. You're always laughing and you are always surprised at what this guy is saying and how he can make it funny. I put this movie on all the time. I listen to this shit on my phone all the time. It's the best. I'm thrilled Richard Pryor is in here.
I had only seen 3 or 4 of the titles that got in this year before we recorded this episode because I saw it on Twitter. This was one of them, and I have spent this entire record like a dad on Christmas waiting for their kid to get to the N64 package, where I'm just every time Kyle goes 1970, I'm like, is this it? Is this it? Is this what I knew Tom would be
so happy,
fucking elated about this. I think this is a great choice, not just because it's arguably the greatest stand-up comedy film of all time, but it also further broadens the definition of what the Registry can include.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that a stand-up special is great. It's also recognition of Richard Pryor and his effect on comedy.
Yeah, I mean, look at I kind of made a joke about it, but every comedian is trying to do the honest comedy thing that Richard really set forth, and it just goes to the fact that nobody can do what Richard did the way Richard did it. It's just it's such a shame he died almost 20 years ago at this point, because you would love to see what he would do as the world got crazier and crazier around him, and to see all of the comedians that are so clearly indebted to him that you really only started seeing in the 21st century, because I don't feel like a lot of the 90s guys and the 80s guys were really, maybe Eddie Murphy was the closest, but yeah, I mean, just in terms of sheer impact, obviously this has to go in there, but it's also a case of it's as good as its impact is impactful. It's perfect.
And I think it also pairs well with another entrant in terms of if you're trying to chronicle American humor and the evolution of American humor, obviously Will Rogers is a crucial figure in that, and there's certain things where it's like, if you're trying to understand American comedy, there's a couple of names that like you have to hit, and Will Rogers is one. Moms Mabley, Lenny Bruce, and Richard Pryor is of course one of them. And then the fact that you have this film, which is his best film, and there is at the very least an argument to be made that this is the greatest stand-up comedy film of all time.
Oh yeah.
I
mean,
think Tom and I would say that it is, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's on everybody's list.
it's like the evergreen stand-up special. Like, it's the one that's going to be on every list. And you know, like you said, the history of comedy. Like, George Carlin might have been arrested for obscenity for saying the 730 words you can't say on TV, shit. But I mean, nobody heard what Richard was saying before. Just the casual way he was like, he brought how black people in this country actually talk to each other onto the stage, and it was shocking to people. But he never dulled his sensibilities, but he made it in a way where you could still listen to it, and like, white people would go to
Well,
his stand-ups and
that's
be
the
like,
key thing. That's the
yeah,
thing that the limit, like the key to what makes that special so good and what makes Pryor so significant is there is obviously a rich history of black comedy in America that just never got white attention, right? I mean,
yeah,
you've got Moms Mabley, you've
Mhm.
got a lot of people don't realize Pigmeat Markham is a name that like most white people have never heard, but for arguably you don't even get the entire genre of rap music unless you look at Pigmeat Markham's Here Comes the Judge. That's hugely important. Red Fox, things like that. But Richard Pryor could do what he was doing and not tweak himself and not change anything, and yet white audiences were showing up. And he has that great line in, I'm pretty sure it's this special, maybe I'm wrong, but when he was talking about human civilization beginning in Africa, and
yeah.
he has that, he goes, scientists determined that human civilization began in Africa. White scientists. So now you see the white guys in the audience going, well, I guess it's true then. Like that was kind of his. He was so
Yeah.
good with that, and he was very good about kind of. Yeah, I mean, look, he's there is a strong argument to be made. This is the greatest stand-up special of all time. There's a very strong argument to be made that Richard Pryor is the greatest stand-up comedian of all time. So yes, I think this is a great suggestion. I knew this one was going to go. We were going to go long on this one for that.
Love it. Good job, guys.
And what's great is we still have one more gift for Tom under the tree. Anyway,
boy.
Moving
Okay.
on, moving on. So
I already got pink flamingos. The rest of this could be anything. I don't care. I think
is it Jade?
it is not Jade. No, unfortunately,
it's weirdly
not
the
this
curse
time.
of the Jade Scorpion, which is a weird choice for many reasons, but we're here.
Oh no, they're breaking their rules. They're putting in West Side Story right now.
We have to wait a little longer for it, but we are going to move on. So same year, 1979, we have Chicana.
Interesting. I'm not familiar with this. I'm assuming, is it a documentary, Kyle?
It looks like another student film, maybe. Let's see. So for producer director Silvio Morales created Chicana, a 22-minute collage of artworks, stills, documentary footage, narration, and testimonies to provide a counterpart to earlier film accounts of Mexican and Mexican American history that all but erased women's lives from their narratives, centering on successive struggles by women from the pre-Columbian era to the present to combat exploitation, break out of cultural stereotypes, and organize for national independence, women's education, and the rights of workers. Chicana resurrects an arresting array of proto-feminist icons to inspire Chicana feminists with role models from their cultural past. In 1977, Morales, an artist and cinematographer who had worked at KABC in Los Angeles and was enrolled in UCLA's film school, became enthralled with a slideshow created by Chicano studies artist teacher Ana Nieto Gomez that included a history of Mexican women of which Morales was unaware. With Nieto Gomez's support, Morales conducted additional research with Cynthia Honesto, hired composer Carmen Moreno to score the film, and renowned actress Carmen Zapota to narrate it, shot documentary footage, and recorded interviews with Chicana activists Dolores Huerta, Alicia Escalante, and Francisca Flores to incorporate as voiceovers into the film. Acknowledged as a brilliant and pioneering feminist Latina critic, Chicana has served as a stepping stone for Morales' distinguished career as a writer and director of acclaimed cable and public television documentary and fiction productions. UCLA has digitally scanned the best surviving picture sources for interim preservation purposes and hopes to turn this provisional work into a full restoration effect. So a lot of UCLA stuff, it
Yeah.
seems like.
Well, I think that's good. I'm looking at this right now. So this is available on home video. It's distributed by Women Make Movies. I like Women Make Movies. I actually bought last year. There was an inductee that they distribute. If you guys remember, Devil Never Sleeps, the Mexican American co-production
Yes.
that Kyle
Yeah.
read the
Last year.
description for, and Tom just went cool. And not sarcastically, just genuinely like good. Yes.
Yeah.
This feels like another one of those. So I'm probably, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably ordering this by the end of the day. I like it a lot. This sounds very interesting, and yeah, cool. I'm all in for it. I think it's great.
Cool. Also from 1979, we have The Wobblies.
Excuse me?
Hang
The
on.
Wobblies?
Oh, hang on. Is this I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. So this is a documentary, right?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is about the labor. This is about the what is it? Worldwide workers.
the industrial workers of the world.
Industrial workers of the world. Yeah. So that was a significant labor movement. That was I know it mostly because Allen Ginsberg invokes the Wobblies in his poem America, and I just remember him saying, like, reading it as a young kid, and then listening to him read it, and just hearing like, I'm sympathetic to the Wobblies, and being like, what in the fuck is the Wobblies? So I'm not familiar with this film, but I am familiar with the Wobblies. So did you see in the description? Did you see anything of note about it? Anything that makes you go like, oh yeah, well, okay.
Yeah, I can read the description for you
sure,
guys. It looks like founded in Chicago in 1905, the industrial workers of the world took to organizing unskilled workers into one big union and changed the course of American history. This compelling documentary of the IWW, or the Wobblies as they were known, tells the story of workers in factories, sawmills, wheat fields, forests, mines, and on the docks as they organize and demand better wages, healthcare, overtime pay, and safer working conditions. In some respects, men and women, black and white, skilled and unskilled workers joining a union and speaking their minds seems so long ago, but in other ways, the film mirrors today's headlines, depicting a nation torn by corporate greed. Filmmakers Deborah Schaefer and Stuart Bird weave history, archival film footage, interviews with former workers now in their 80s and 90s, cartoons, original art, and classic wobbly songs, many written by Joe Hill, to pay tribute to the legacy of these rebels who paved the way and risked their lives for the many of the rights that we still have today. The film was restored by the Museum of Modern Art.
Couple things interesting there. Number one, I think that parallels really well with later this season. In season 2, we're doing Harlan County, USA, which is obviously a stirring depiction of a labor dispute. Also, I feel like in our early seasons, in season 1 and season 2, the descriptions of these movies are all very staid and very, dry, and just, this film has great images. And now they're just directly being like, everything's fucked. The American labor system is in crisis. Everything's awful.
Fuck the world. Everything's bad. Burn it down. Who cares? Also, most interesting thing is, man, Stephen King's son really gets around, doesn't he? Joe Hill. Yeah,
Joe Hill is his Stephen King's son's author name. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Interesting, the Wobblies. Okay. Another thing that's worth noting is, like, virtually all of these, not every single one, obviously there's Baby Jane, but virtually all of these seem like there's a response to something going on now, a response to the national climate. And also, like, obviously we've got more to go, and we're moving into the most recent years. But thus far, like, in terms of, like, mainstream movies, you've just got, like, Baby Jane, Strangers on a Train. There's nothing that's, like, one of those big, like, populist choices yet. I'm sure there's at least one or two coming up in the next batch, from the way Kyle has hinted at it. But thus far, it's been a real effort to kind of uncover things. So I think it's very cool.
But also, like, not, at least the way it sounds to me, like, annoyingly, like, artistic and obtuse, like, abstract art. It all sounds like shit that was just not mainstream because, well, it was for black people or made by black people.
Yeah.
Because this country is great. So, yeah, everything's bad. Everything sucks. Next!
What's next, Kyle?
All right. Yep, you called it. From 1983, and to round out the original trilogy, we have Star Wars Episode 6: Return of the Jedi.
Wow, really?
Look at that.
Interesting. Okay. That was one that I almost nominated in season 1. I came very close to nominating to round out the trilogy, really, and also because I'm the rare maniac that likes Return of the Jedi more than Empire Strikes Back.
It was the first time Star Wars fumbled a trilogy.
All right.
So we
all
have
right.
to honor that.
Return of the
You know, because
Jedi,
if Star Wars started blockbuster culture, it started franchise culture. It also started ending your franchise badly. I kid. Return of the Jedi is great. It's not as good as the first two, despite what Mike wants to say, because he, drinks himself stupid and watches Disney Plus in the morning. But
what if this is all? What if this is all a ploy for the Library of Congress to go, George, give us the footage of Yub Nub?
Yeah.
What if that's what there's like? It's inducted, but we need the original actor. We're taking out that Hayden ghost. We want the original actor. We want Yub Nub.
George walks in with the cans of the original cut of Return of the Jedi, and then he realizes it's in an empty room, and he goes, "Oh no!" and they shoot him in the head because I'm making a Goodfellas reference, and they say, "Never again, George. None of this editing shit."
Yub Nub. What's up?
Fucking Hayden.
No, I Return of the Jedi is a blast. I mean, people like to dunk on Return of the Jedi just, for what it was, and it's got the, the Ewoks they called teddy bears and crap like that. But when you think about it, like the
Ewoks
entirety
rule,
of
by the way.
The Ewoks rule, the entirety of the Jabba sequence, I mean, everything with the sand barge and the Sarlacc.
There's great shit in it. Listen, the second act is clear. No one knew what to do with the second act. Han Solo has nothing to do in the movie. Harrison Ford is clearly lost because they gave him nothing to do. It's a lot of wheel spinning. And it's not even that the Ewoks suck, because they don't. They're little Vietnamese terrorists, and I love them. They're monsters. I love it. They're great. I'm not even being ironic. They're fucking awesome.
To be clear, for anyone listening, George was basing the Ewoks on the Viet Cong. Tom is not claiming that the actual Ewoks are all. No,
they literally fight like Vietnamese soldiers.
Yes,
and it's great. They are hardcore. It's just the fact that, like I said, the second act is not great. And while the Ewoks are good, there's a lot of bad kitty humor in the stuff in like that segment where they're like, "Oh no, they're gonna eat us!" Whoa! It's like, all right, George, come on, relax. Let's get to the good stuff where Vader's fighting Luke, and then they're fighting the Death Star again, and there's the Endor base attack. There's great shit in it. There's no doubt about it. But it is one where. Yeah, if you're being honest with yourself, the second act, not great, but
it was,
as Joe Dante said on a podcast yesterday I listened to, you can make up with a great ending, and boy howdy does Return of the Jedi have a great goddamn ending.
Plus, you gotta preserve it. If you're preserving the two, you gotta preserve the third. I think that's...
Yeah, this isn't Rise of Skywalker where you just forget it.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring to.
What was that movie?
The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, not following.
It's apparently a movie where an orphan girl is told she's actually important, and then she decides to, after finally getting the family she always wanted, live alone on a desert planet again.
All right, Kyle, what's next? What's next after Return of the Jedi? That's very interesting.
It's all right. It's time to open Tom's last gift.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the year, and you're gonna give me the movie. Okay.
This is what? Okay.
It's 1984.
1984. I mean, 1984 is kind of like a classically good movie year.
Okay, but why is it a good movie year?
No.
What?
Did they do it? Kyle, did they do it?
Did they do what?
Did they do it, bitch?
Did they do what, Tom?
Oh my god!
Do it, bitch?
Oh my god! Really?
Nightmare on Elm Street!
Oh my god! Bitch!
Yeah! Yeah!
Welcome to prime time, bitch! Welcome to the National Film Registry, bitch!
Okay, wait, can I tell you?
Yes!
Can I tell you the craziest part of that?
Amazing.
As Tom is guessing, and I have no idea what it's going to be, I am staring at my desk, and on my desk right now are two patches. One says Never Sleep Again, the other says Elm Street, and there is also a pin for Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, all of which are left over from when we appeared on podcasts like it's 1999's Patreon. Nightmare on Elm Street is in the red. Hell yeah. I mean, it's a great choice. It's a perfect choice. I'm just
It's also
fucking
another like
surprised.
to me, honestly, it's kind of crazy, like the Pink Flamingos one, that it took this long to get in. But I get it. Horror movies always kind of get a little short shrift with any sort of recognition based, stuff
Wow.
like this. But I mean, yeah, it's like, and it's a weird movie in the sense that it's so impactful in the way that you literally can't copy it without everyone saying, "Oh, they're just doing Nightmare on Elm Street."
Yeah.
It's not like
Wow.
Halloween where you could like, oh, like they're ripping off Halloween, but like they're putting their own twist on it. It's like if you do someone getting killed in their dreams, you go, well, yeah, it's just Nightmare on Elm Street. Come on, like what are we doing here? You guys couldn't think of anything else. It's a perfect movie. We talked about it. God, was that a month or 2 months ago on podcast? Like it's 1989
Not sure,
about
but
Elm
one of
Street
them.
5.
Yeah, it was for Halloween,
Yeah,
so
yeah, it was October, 2 months ago. We talked about it then about how Wes Craven seemingly was the only guy who knew how to make good Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Um, I mean, it's just a great movie. It's like all the best horror movies. You could watch it with your brain shut off, but you could also think deeper on it because Wes Craven was such a smart guy. It's a smart movie about kind of the fallacy of the suburbs, about the broken family unit, all that stuff. It's about, justice. The American justice system's kind of not great, and how we kind of say we believe in the justice system, but when things don't go our way, we throw guys in a boiler room and light him on fire. Even if he deserves it, it's going to end up biting you in the ass if you don't actually do the right thing in life. um you got Robert Englund's truly, like I said on the podcast with the guys, that I think Robert Englund's so iconic as Freddy Krueger. It's kind of, I feel like, one of the things they're kind of worried about with making a new one, because it's just like it's just he is Freddy Krueger as much as he's Wes Craven's creation. Robert Englund brought him to life and made that burnt up freak the iconic character that we love to watch to this day. um
and for more on our thoughts
it's
about Freddy
perfect.
For more about thoughts on our thoughts on Freddy Krueger, pay Phil Iskov and Kenny Neibart $5 a month to listen to us talk about the franchise.
And
But
also look at us,
oh
because
yeah,
it's a video podcast.
for $10 you can look at us.
Oh wow.
And I am
Which for
wearing.
one of us is a good idea. The other one is Mike.
It's so upsetting because I am now 15 pounds lighter than I was when we did that, and it's deeply upsetting to look at.
And I look pretty much the same from the way they record me, because I've just put on a lot of muscle, but I don't look different. I still look like a heavy metal roadie. Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street fucking rules. Thank you. Thank you, boys.
Yeah, and don't worry, Mike. We still have one more gift for you on this list to come. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're gonna move on to number 20. From 1984, we have Stop Making Sense.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Jonathan Demme concert film about the Talking Heads. I love me some Talking Heads. Great movie.
A nice 180 for these current choices, because it is the whitest movie ever made.
Burning.
But
down. Yeah. No. Stop Making Sense is, you know how we were saying earlier that there's an argument to be made that Richard Pryor had the greatest stand-up film of all time. There is a strong argument to be made that Stop Making Sense is the greatest concert film of all time. It's one of the things.
Yeah, everyone says it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, do I love Last Waltz? I love Last Waltz dearly. I think that, and it's my pick per se, but the thing about Stop Making Sense that's so impressive is Jonathan Demme was able to take a band as weird as the Talking Heads, as hard to pin down as the Talking Heads, and capture what it was like to see them in concert. Like, part of the problem you have with a lot of concert films is that either the band isn't terribly visually interesting, so you have to make up for it, and I don't know, add some fantasy sequences of people riding horses or something, or they are interesting to watch in a way that kind of only translates to the stage and not the screen. But there's something about the simplicity of Stop Making Sense and the way that he shoots it that just you feel it. You feel the electricity of, I get why this band was a group that people said you have to go see them. And, I mean, obviously David Byrne right now is on Broadway doing his show that Spike Lee filmed, and this incredible version of it as well. But yeah, this is just a landmark concert film. Very good choice.
Awesome. Let me move on to 1987. Who Killed Vincent Chin?
No, Who Killed Vincent Chin? That's a documentary, right?
Yeah, actually, here, let me double check here. Here we go. In 1982, Vincent Chin, a 27-year-old Chinese American, was beaten to death with a baseball bat in Detroit by two white auto workers. Detroit during
Of
that period
course.
was a cauldron of racism against Asian Americans amid the decline of the U.S. auto industry as Americans elected to buy Japanese cars. Those who killed Chin likely assumed he was Japanese. In the end, the two men were found guilty of manslaughter, but given probated sentences and served no jail time. Directors Christine Choi and Renee Tajima Pena's Academy Award nominated documentary examines this appalling miscarriage of justice and the multiple issues it raises, including how irresponsible media can increase the risk of violence against ethnic minority communities. According to co-director Choi, the film's key elements involve: one, this being one of the very first civil rights case involving an Asian America; two, how the case mobilized many Asian Americans in the country; three, though the Chin side lost the case but also raised an incredible amount of consciousness about the civil rights issue involving all people of color; and four, the ultimate question of why the system failed and what have we learned from this. The film was restored by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Film Archive and the Film Foundation.
That's super. So
Sounds
I've
like
not
a great time at the theaters. I can't wait to watch this and just feel good.
Yeah, well, here's the best news for you all. It lost to an equally sad documentary. Because I've seen this. I haven't. I'm sorry. I should rephrase. I have seen this title. I haven't seen the film, but I was on a mission. I still am to try and watch every Best Documentary winner and all the Oscar winners and all. And I remember this stood out to me because it lost Best Documentary to Hotel Terminus: The Life and Times of Klaus Barbie, which is the Marcel Ophuls film, which I think they kind of, not nothing against Hotel Terminus, they kind of gave this to Marcel Ophuls because they didn't give an Oscar to The Sorrow and the Pity, which is the Ophuls Holocaust documentary that everybody knows. But so this was something that seemingly, at least by some accounts, like should have won were it not for being up against the Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman of documentaries. So Who Gives I haven't seen, but I definitely want to check out.
Can't wait to laugh the entire time because it sounds like such a fun, uplifting movie.
Tom,
Thank you.
nothing they have picked, like almost nothing they've picked so far is I mean, listen, the picks they're making are mostly reflective of the times we live in, and there's
Yeah.
little fun about the times we live in.
Yeah, I know. Still.
Okay, what's next, Kyle?
All right, Mike. I have your
me? Okay.
I have your little morsel here. I'm not gonna make you guess the year anyway, because actually this was one of your registry picks.
What? Wait,
Yes,
we got one in?
you got one in.
We got one in?
You got one. You got. Not only did you get one in,
Oh,
it's one. It's one that I never would have. I'll put it this way: of your list, it's the one I probably would list as the bottom of most likely. Do you want to take a
really?
Do you want to take a guess and figure
Oh
out
my
which of your
god.
list it is?
I'm so
Well,
fucking. Wait, we
sometime
seriously.
after 87.
Wait, we really got one in?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
Hell
just double
yeah.
checked before we recorded. This is the only one of the list that was in.
Whoa, we got one in. Okay, let's take a moment, guys. We got a movie in the registry. I mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't all us. I'm certainly not suggesting that, but like that's fucking cool. All right, so this is after the 80s, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So it's going to be late 80s or early 90s. I'm going to guess it's either Tongues Untied or Watermelon Woman.
It's Watermelon Woman.
Yeah! Hell yes. I love that fucking oh my god. I love Watermelon Woman. My partner and I just we were at the Nighthawk to see House of Gucci, and during their pre-show they played a clip of Watermelon Woman, and all I kept doing was going, this movie's so good. And then during House of Gucci going, I wish I was watching Watermelon Woman instead. Watermelon Woman is I mean, I've talked about it. I talked about it on our podcast. You can go back and listen to, I believe it's our Sunrise episode, where I talk about my love for this movie. That's wonderful. That makes me that Cheryl Dunn. That makes me so happy. Oh my god.
We got one in. We've got 3 more to go, and surprisingly, they're the 3 that I've seen circulated around headlines the most, but you guys have somehow avoided, so I commend you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm still in the glow of we got one on, but yes.
That's also true too. If we want to, just enjoy that for a little
Oh
bit.
my
I know nothing
god.
about Watermelon Woman, so I'm glad
Watch
we
it.
got.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it so much. I'm so happy. It's like my kid just got into college. I'm delighted. Yeah, this is good. All of this is good. Okay.
All of it is good, and it's only going to get better. I think we'll see. I'll be curious to see both of
Okay.
your reactions to these next few. So, All right. From 1997, Selena.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean yeah. I feel like Selena has come up on the show before. Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of film that is I mean, it's one of those ones that most people have seen. It was about a major figure, particularly in in the Latino community. Obviously, Selena was a major star. And yeah, it was a film that it's weird. I have seen Selena in full once. I have seen it a million times because I feel like for a decade plus that movie was on cable constantly, right? Like I feel like it was on
Yep.
cable constantly, and it was one that like most people stopped and watched. Obviously, so many people had the soundtrack and the movie. And it's weird. I trying to call that movie to memory. All I think of is I just picture the ending of her singing. I think the song's "Here in My Room." I don't remember the title of the song, but I can picture the ending vividly. Yeah, I mean that feels like one of those picks that, aside from recognizing one of the one of those pivotal died too young musical artists, in the same way that La Bamba is in the Registry, in the same way that there's so many of those music biopics that are that way. I mean, La Bamba is kind of the template in some ways, or I guess Buddy Holly Story is the template. But aside from that, it is a ubiquitous movie. It's the same way that like when Grease got in last year, I just remember thinking like, yeah, if you are trying to chronicle not just American life but like American cinematic, is like, yes, most Americans have probably seen Selena, have heard Selena's music. Yeah, it's a good choice. I get it. I support it.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. So,
So we've got
we're
what, two more to go, Kyle?
two more
Because
to go.
you've been
This
hyping
next,
these up, and I cannot imagine that you have been hyping up Selena so much. So these next two had better have the impact that you think they're gonna have.
nearly 20 years to the day that it released in
American
theaters.
Beauty.
Wait, hang on. 20 years to the day. So this is a 2001 movie?
This is a 2001 movie. Nearly 20 years ago to the day, this film has been inducted into the National Film Registry. And I'm not
Okay.
even going to say the name. I'm just going to sing. Da 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 da.
Lord of the
Oh,
Rings.
whoa!
Da 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 da
Oh my!
da.
Stop! You have to stop, or I'm gonna start
Fellowship of
crying.
the Ring, baby.
Wow. So I guess because it's New Line, I guess they count that as an American movie. Yeah, I guess that's an American co-production,
I
right?
guess
Yeah,
so.
it's an American production.
Is it really? I don't know why I have it in my head that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
Okay,
because
then
Peter
good.
Jackson's New Zealand, they shot it in New Zealand, but it's a
Yeah.
New Line movie. Like that's
Yeah.
just it's all New Line, and technically the Weinsteins because they got their grubby hands on Jackson first. But it's an American movie
Wow.
shot in New Zealand. It's
Wow.
one of the
Good.
truly iconic franchises that's still going today that maybe shouldn't. But yeah, I mean, Fellowship rules, Two Towers rules, Return rules. We're gonna get to. I'm sure they're gonna get to those two, like they got to Return of the Jedi this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it's a true crowning achievement for pretty much everyone involved. It's a movie that everyone keeps chasing. Peter Jackson chased it 3 times, didn't succeed. Amazon's spending billions of dollars trying to chase it with a TV show that they have to do 5 seasons of because of contracts. It's just one of the greatest goddamn movies ever made.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's iconic. I mean, yeah, absolutely, this deserves it.
It's crazy because I was revisiting. I've been revisiting the Spider-Man films in anticipation of No Way Home, and thinking about what that kind of era meant to me, because the 2000s in general, not the greatest time for cinema, right? Like
No,
I feel like, it was something that like when we were in college and we were working on the newspaper and we were trying to round up the best films of the 2000s, we really struggled because we were like, let's not just pick the populist choices of Lord of the Rings and Dark Knight, but it's hard not to. It was hard to kind of say that there was anything more impactful. Those two, I mean, Fellowship of the Ring and Dark Knight kind of bookend that decade in a way. And kind of just, they had huge impacts. In the case of Fellowship 2, it was this amazing thing. So obviously our friends Phil and Kenny do their 1999 podcast, looking at that year and what a major year that was. And then 2000 is this nebulous year of stuff's coming out. We don't really know. 2001 has this amazing back-to-back-to-back hit of Fellowship of the Ring comes out that year. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone comes out that year. Spirited Away comes out in America that year. Or no, it comes out in Japan that year. Shrek is that year. I know Shrek gets dunked on, but there is still this feeling of just like 2001 was a year where flights of fancy happened, where the cultures became preoccupied with them. And to have something that both fit the time so well, that was arguably one of the things that pushed it. I mean, obviously Harry Potter was huge, Fellowship of the Ring was huge, but that not only fit the time so well and fit its moment so well, but when you watch it again now, you're still overwhelmed by how complete a work of art it is. It is not a case of, if you go back and watch Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone now, Christopher Columbus delivered what he needed to deliver on, but obviously some of the effects don't hold up. It doesn't look necessarily the best. Shrek's animation certainly doesn't hold up. There's a lot of things from 2001. Fast and Furious certainly looks weird now. A lot of things from 2001 that don't hold up. And yet, you watch Fellowship of the Ring, and if it came out today, you would still be like, that movie's gorgeous. There's nothing about it that is poorly aged. It is so perfectly realized.
I mean, so much so that they've made 3 Hobbit movies that look more like movies today than they look like Lord of the Rings movies, and people go, this is ugly. What the fuck happened?
I mean, there are people who watch it every year. I mean, Joanna Robinson, who's a film critic, we like, tweets about every year watching them again and again. I get deeply emotional revisiting these films. Yeah, I watched them with my partner because we read the books together, and so many moments when Sam is just takes that moment to pause and says the next step will be the furthest I've ever been from home. Like, it still hits me. It's just wow. Yeah, what a very good choice, and also a movie that sort of defines an entire decade in a way that, like, there's a lot of 90s movies in this and that, but like if you said to somebody Pulp Fiction, you kind of just go like, of course, that's the 90s. In terms of cinema, like that just feels like a huge. This is one of those. Like the Fellowship of the Ring is just one of those ones that it was such a moment. And obviously Return of the King goes on to win all the Oscars, but it's a collective award. What a good, wow, good. I didn't expect that, but very good.
Yeah, that's the one that was making all the headlines, so I was surprised that y'all didn't see that one, so I'm glad.
So there's one more.
There's one more. I personally don't. I think it's at least on par. I think Mike White will prefer it a little bit more, but we'll just jump right in.
Hang on. You think I will prefer it more than Tom will?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's animated.
Yes. 100%.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that up. It's animated and it's 2000s or
Yep.
It's not like a brand new movie. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, oh god.
As in it didn't just become eligible.
No, it did not just become eligible.
Okay. What's the year?
From 2008.
2008. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was 2009, I know that's a Murderer's Row animation year. 2008. Oh, okay. For a minute, I was about to say Ratatouille, but no, Ratatouille is 2007. So 2008 is, of course, WALL-E. Is WALL-E in the registry?
WALL-E is officially in the registry.
Good.
Yeah, that's great.
What a good choice.
Also, fuck you. Like, I don't like WALL-E. What the hell?
I didn't know. I didn't know. I just said I thought you'd be. I thought between the two of y'all, I thought Mike would be more hyped for it. I didn't say you didn't like it.
Oh my god.
It's WALL-E. WALL-E's great.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about WALL-E is that I hadn't seen WALL-E since it, up until this year, I hadn't watched all of WALL-E since it had come out, and for some reason, I had it in my stupid brain because it was, I was in like late high school when it came out. I had it in my stupid brain that the movie is good but falls apart in the second half. Like my dumb brain was like, well, it's great when he's on Earth and he's moving stuff around, but then once it gets on the ship and people are talking, it's bad. And so my partner and I rewatched all the Pixar films over quarantine because weirdly we had a lot of time. And God, I was wrong. That movie's great from start to finish. When he listens to the Hello Dolly song, I want to sob. The goddamn captain, on the ship, and he takes his steps, and there's the plant, and he's flying, and the fire extinguisher is very good. Yeah, good. WALL-E is good.
It's great.
Oh, boy.
WALL-E's
Yes.
amazing. It's great. I love it. It's one of the best Pixar movies, one of the best animated movies ever made. It rules. It's great.
And alongside The Dark Knight, one of those movies that broke the Oscars.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
2008 was that year where, right? I feel like WALL-E and Dark Knight were the two that people were most mad about not getting a Best Picture nomination that year. Like, The Wrestler was part of that conversation too, but hey, they gave Mickey Rourke a nomination. But I remember people just being actively mad that Dark Knight and WALL-E got fucked out of Best Picture nominations. So now, guess what? They're both in the registry, and none of the 2008 Best Picture nominees are. So who really wins?
I didn't see the reader.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So that's our 25. That's the new class of entrants. That's very cool. You know what else is cool? We got a movie in the registry.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
That we did.
I mean, granted, Watermelon Woman's been seeing a resurgence and all that stuff, but it does just feel cool that we sent a title in and they did it. So, guys, for all of you listening, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, which I assume is coming out not too long after we record it. Thank you guys for checking this out, and for all of you listening, either if you joined us as Season 1 was coming out or if you came to join us afterward. We are in the works on Season 2 right now. We have lined up a bunch of guests. We are working on a few more, but that will be coming out in 2022, and we got a lot of great movies in Season 2. We hope you'll check it out. You can follow us on social media at YMO Podcast.
YMO
right?
Podcast, yep.
At YMO Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at NKOAS. Tom?
Yeah, I guess you can follow me on Twitter at RagingBull1990 if you want. I don't know. Don't leave me alone.
And we hope you guys will join us. If you have any suggestions, any thoughts, if you have anybody you want to hear on the show, anything like that, you can always reach out to us at yourmissingoutpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys for checking it out. We look forward to seeing you in Season 2. So subscribe so you can always get new episodes. And leave us a review if you can. It helps people find the show. So thank you guys so much. And we will see you in 2022 for Season 2.
I want this picture to be a document. I want to hold a mirror up to life. I want this to be a picture of dignity, a true canvas of the suffering of humanity.
But with a little section.
With a little section.
How about a nice